Good evening. I'd like to call to order the October 11th, 2022 meeting of the Golf Committee. In accordance with Chapter 30, Section 20, I have to inquire whether or not anyone is taping this meeting. Seeing none, I will also mention to the public that this meeting is being recorded and will air on Channel 18 after the meeting concludes. We'll take the roll call now at this time. Jason Orby, absent. Mark Bushway,
Here.
John Cookson,
Present.
Suzanne Connolly,
Present.
Jeff Converse, absent. Keith Hochstein, present. Bill Silva.
Present.
Okay, the next order. Jesse, do you have any public comments? Okay. So then the next order of a meeting is to act on the minutes of the September 13th, 2022 meeting. First of all, do we have any comments, suggestions, improvements from any of the members? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, John? Okay, we'll take another vote here. All in favor of approving the minutes from the September 13th, 2022 meeting? Jason Orby is absent. Mark Bushway?
Yes.
John Cookson?
Yes.
Suzanne Connolly?
Yes.
Jeff Converse absent. Keith Hochstein, yes. Bill Silver?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, we are going to turn the meeting over to the Director of Golf for a discussion of the 2023 rates and fees.
Well, I don't really have anything to add besides what you have on paper. I mean, I don't want to read this just for the sake of reading it, but if you feel it appropriate.
I don't think you have to read it, Jesse,
Okay.
but
The main
if you
points.
have any.
Right, so essentially, my proposal, I can get into the whys if needed. With the exception of the driving range annual pass, there are no proposed changes to any resident annual pass fees. Non-resident fees, different story. I think we can and should go up. Two different options, one at 3%, one at 6%. The difference between those two isn't much, but I mean, one is double the other, so I shouldn't say it like that, but it's really not that much at the end of the day. The only resident rate that would be changed is not an annual pass rate, but it's the off-season resident greens fee rate here at Old Barnstable. I think is very undervalued at $25. So I think 30 would make a lot more sense. And that's a rate we're talking about basically from now all the way through the end of April for a resident non-member greens fee here at Barnstable. I think 25 is just, this place is worth a lot more than that. Card fees up, proposed to go up $1 for public, and for pass holders, nothing at Old Barnstable, but going up $2 at Hyannis, reason being to match. They've always been 18 here at Old Barnstable and 16 at Hyannis. I don't buy into them needing to be different. So if we can get up to the same level, now that for the first time ever we're going to have the same fleet at both courses, I think it would make sense. The winter cart rate that has always been kind of put into place when, I don't know. You all understand the rationale for it. I think we talked about it last time, but with the cost of these new carts, I said it right here on paper, the new, the price of gas does not care what month it is, nor does the wear and tear on the turf or on the carts themselves, or the labor required. It doesn't matter what month it is, the price should be the same. That's pretty much it on the changes. I'll surmise this at the bottom for anybody watching. Basically, regarding the annual pass fees, I think if we were in the private sector and the free market rules of supply and demand say we should be going up because we're so busy. But we're not in the private sector. We are tasked with being a level-funded budget, providing affordable recreational opportunities to our residents, and I'm of the opinion that since forecasted revenues are enough to fund the operation as a whole, I think increasing resident fees would fly in the face of that purpose statement. That's really all I have. You have the numbers in front of you. Again, the difference in the two options, and not to say those are your only two options, that's just what I put on paper. We can do one of these or none of these, but they're really not much, the difference. I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at a difference of only $7,500. You know, the option one being an extra $46,000 in revenue, and option two being $53,500. You know, in the scheme of things, obviously $7,500 is not a make or break number for the operation. But so I don't. Again, I don't. I'm more here for you guys to speak, and don't feel like you're handcuffed to what I put on paper.
I have a question.
I have a question too. Go ahead.
All right, comments from the committee.
Yeah, I'm curious about the young adult residents. Can you explain to me the theory of providing a reduced rate for a young adult 27 to 30? I'm not sure I understand why, when they're probably working full-time and you have 75-year-old people on Social Security spending the full boat.
Great question. So the young adult pass used to be, years ago until 2019, 18 to 30. We had that exact discussion and said, I think in the upper end of your 20s, that's enough. You're an adult now, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
But we didn't want to pull the rug out of those who were already kind of in that system. You know, a 26-year-old. So we grandfathered them in, basically.
So that'll go away.
Very soon,
Yes,
yeah. There's not many left.
Right.
We looked at it the other day. I think it's a single-digit number of people who
Okay.
still qualify for that. That's why it says must have been a pass. So that's all it was. We were trying to grandfather them in. But as of right now, if you're a new member, or if you're joining for the first time, if you're 27 or over, you're an adult. That's what that was. It's every community on Cape has some kind of reduced rate for not just juniors, but even a young adult. I was looking at Hyannis today. They have a 23 and under, 30, 35 and under. So I don't think that's that out of the box, but that's what that was. We were grandfathering in those who thought they had 3 or 4 years left, and it's a very inconsequential number of people that it affects.
And has any consideration been given to providing a discount for first responders or military, active military?
We do a greens fee discount. We've never done 20%. We've never done an annual pass discount. Could be talked about for sure. I think for sure it would have to be active duty.
Oh, I
because,
agree, yeah.
You know, the amount of vets around it's a huge number.
It is, yeah.
But we do with greens fees. We don't probably do a good enough job promoting that, but it is there. It is there on paper.
I had a comment, a question maybe from Jesse. When you're projecting revenue like for next year, are you looking at the rounds played? Are you using this year to project similar numbers for next year?
Yeah, I'm looking
So
at.
if things kind of slow down a bit, you know, that revenue target may be a stretch if the rounds played don't match.
Yes. I'm looking at pretty much the last 2 years.
Yeah.
What I did, the revenue, the forecasted revenue for this year that we're in right now, how I came about it, I took FY 21 and FY 19. I ignored 20 because FY 20 was just such a mess. I just took that out of the completely, and I looked at FY 19 and FY 21. They being the finance director and those above me, they won't let me get as aggressive as I'd like to.
Yeah.
So there is, and rightfully so, they're conservative. So even if we were to come up short of my forecasted revenue, we'd still be okay, barring any crazy drop off. But Trent, right now, I mean, I read a lot of trade stuff, and everyone's up. It's not going anywhere. At least the experts think it's going to stay there. I haven't forecasted any growth in rounds. if that makes sense. I haven't forecasted any growth in that, but I'm comfortable saying that I think this will continue. But to your point, even if we were to come up a little short, I'm not trying to create a budget to where it's all or nothing.
Right.
Jesse,
You're next. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Jesse, could you help me? I don't know if the numbers that were given aren't correct, because on the June 2022, which was for the last
Right.
year, it has expenses of $4,495,000 and revenues of $3,944,000, or expenses $550,000 in excess of revenues, and then subtracted from that is the $337 for the CPC.
Right.
And it says here, the consolidated surplus year-to-date, subtracting the 550, from the 550, 337, you come up with 213. And so the statement that we got last year indicated that expenses exceeded revenues by 213,000.
Yeah, that's not accurate at all.
So why aren't we given, numbers that when you say that the revenue is gonna exceed expenses,
Right.
what, so could you, in the next meeting?
Yeah,
could
I'd
you
have to go back and look at it. I don't want to
Give
stumble
me
over it now, but absolutely, yeah, I will look at
something that would indicate, because also,
Yeah.
the surplus
Yeah.
grew, and I don't understand why that is.
Right, by about 400. Yeah.
So could you show us,
Sure.
show me, or,
Oh, the committee.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll look at that exact
Committee.
report. So that's the June report, but it shows the year to date for the whole year.
yeah,
Okay, I will look at that exactly. As far as all the numbers that I saw and were deemed official by those above me were, I want to say we spent 3.5 and made 3.9. But
So we could,
I will look at that.
and I'll look at the June report before our
Absolutely, yeah,
November meeting.
yeah. That's very strange. I'd have to.
Did you have anything else? Thank you for bringing that up.
no, I mean,
John, it's very important. The only problem is we have to vote on these rates tonight.
well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I know,
Take-
but it's
I
good
mean,
that
I'll-
you brought that up.
I mean, I'll take Jesse's word,
Yeah, of course.
and that we aren't, maybe there's a transfer from some fund to the other fund,
I'm
or
guessing it's something weird
some
with.
administrative fee that's,
I mean, we pay indirect support.
yeah.
We use surplus to balance. There's the CPC money. There's a lot of moving parts, but it was not a losing year. Absolutely not. So if it's showing that on paper, that's a massive mistake.
Okay.
So I will
Okay.
get that straightened out.
Because overall, it would appear to me that with all the work that James is gonna have to put into the course next year, the expenses are gonna
Oh, for sure.
go way, way up.
Yep.
And only increasing revenues 46,000 would seem to indicate that the increase in expenses next year are gonna be way, way above 46,000.
Oh, for sure.
And so, I'll go back to what I've said, many times, is that when I came on here, they asked me why I wanted to be a member. And I said, I wanted to have the bunkers fixed. And I've been
Here
here
we are.
8 years, and I
Yep.
see, no, nothing that would indicate that the bunkers are gonna be fixed. And we have a nice surplus.
Yep.
And I just hope that when it comes time to fix those bunkers,
They'll be this time next year.
that we don't
Yep.
delete the
No, it'll,
surplus.
FY '25, we've already spoken about it, that's, we have 4 CIP submissions for this year. FY '25, that's gonna be number 1. I know that,
25 or 4?
FY '25,
5 for the bunkers?
yes. We're talking FY '24 right now,
Right.
right?
Well, oh, calendar.
Meaning
year.
July
Yeah,
1st,
yeah,
2024.
Yeah, gotcha.
Is FY '25,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
This is calendar year.
correct, right, we're to calendar year fees, yeah. So that will be 100% on there. I mean, in the meantime, we have, at least at Hyannis, we have eliminated 30% of them,
Yeah.
you know? And I think there's more to come.
Yeah.
But
I worry about a structural deficit when we rely on the reserve to do these things and to lowball ourselves when it comes to revenue for the year.
Well, we are never going to be able to increase revenue by as much as the expenses are going up next year.
Correct.
That's not going to happen.
No,
That's not a
but
reality.
I think it just seemed 43,000 seems like a low ball, especially when 40,000 of that's getting taken up by cars, right?
Okay, but keep in mind we netted 400 last year.
Understood,
So-
but can you use it? That's, do you understand what I'm saying?
I worry that how you're seeing this is if we only go up 43 grand and our expenses go up 200,
Yeah.
then we're now in the red 157 next year.
No,
That's
I'm
not
not
the case
saying
at all.
that at all.
Okay.
I'm talking about a possible structural deficit if you keep relying on overages to fix things that should be, I'm not really thinking about the bunkers as much as the expenses that James incurs
Yeah.
promoting the green initiative. That's an annual expense.
Sure.
The bunkers will be done, but every year it's becoming more expensive to maintain an organic turf
Sure.
program, and just saying.
We've never been in a position before where we've had enough surplus to even have these conversations,
It's true.
right?
It's true,
I mean,
yeah.
it's only been 2 years of 7 figures.
I know, that's why I'm thinking, what will it cost to run these courses, or, to maintain these courses in an organic environment? That's what I'm talking about. Fixing the bunkers may or may not come out of reserve.
Correct.
But his expenses will happen every year. So, I just want to respond, is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Or did you have more?
No.
Okay, great. I suppose we're going to have a good conversation about the 3 or 6%. So let me just table that for a moment. On your third bullet, the off-season resident greens fees at Old Barnstable are valued at $25, a $5 increase. And what you said was you thought it was terribly undervalued, and I'm wondering why just $5.
You could say $5, you could say 20%. 20% sounds like a lot, doesn't it? I mean,
I'm just saying that $5. What's your net gain there?
I'll tell you what it is right now.
It's a month and a half.
Well, it's from now until April, really.
It's $3,000.
3,000.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
I'd make it 50, but that's just me.
50?
Sure.
Well, that means 74 with a cart in January. That's not going to fly.
No. Well,
You have to
yes,
remember the cart. You know.
Yeah, I forgot the card.
Right.
Okay. And then I had a question mark next to the last bullet, a $1 increase.
Oh yeah, the peak rate.
Yeah, to 90 at Hyannis and 100 at Old Barney.
Right.
In line with our muni neighbors.
Mhm.
Do we have any muni neighbors that are 125?
No.
We don't. So everybody's 100 is the ceiling?
105.
Okay.
I think Bayberry, 105. Everybody's. Hyannis is on the low end at 90. Hyannis matches Dennis. Dennis is
Which dentist?
both.
Both of them?
They're right at 90.
Okay.
Hyannis is at 90, and then the others, your Cranberry, your Captains, and your Yarmouth are all right around 100.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what that cart rate is going to do, because we were at 89 and 99, and that's honestly why I was opposed to a $2 increase in the cart,
Yeah.
because I think 101 is an obnoxious price. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so make it 110.
Just picture, you're handing someone a $100 bill to play golf. I need another $1.
Oh, I understand.
I think that's-
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, it costs a lot to run these courses, and it costs a lot to run them with the organic turf management program.
Mhm.
And I think we're justified if we go a little higher than our neighbors on some things to help pay for that program. Just saying. Just saying.
Read that purpose statement.
No, I understand, but it's also.
We're a nonprofit,
I,
essentially. I know
We're
we're
an-
not a nonprofit, but we're a level
We're
funded
an
budget.
enterprise account.
We're a level, yeah.
We're an enterprise account, and we're here to serve the residents of Barnstable who play golf, as well as the general public and our visitors to Cape Cod. But we're also leading the pack in terms of organic turf management, and it's expensive. I think you've said that over and over.
Sure.
I know James will agree with that, but I don't know.
But we've
just
also
saying.
had record profits the last few years.
Understood.
So it's tough to cry poor
Yeah.
and say all these expenses are going up when we've all of a sudden 2.3 in past profits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
That's, yeah. Does that make sense?
I'll stop. I just,
You're right, expenses are through the roof.
Yeah.
But
with inflation as
Yeah.
well. You know.
Well, Susanna's looking down the road, and I applaud that.
Mhm.
But by the same token, you're gonna be able to raise fees in future years. If
100%.
you hold them.
We're only
hold
talking
them-
this year.
Right.
We're not locked
So
in
you're gonna hold them
anything
this year,
beyond-
but
Right.
down
I'm
the
already-
road, you'll also be looking.
I'm
at-
already planning on another $1 increase in the cart for 2024, for and the bunker work and all, yeah. One good thing, as far as the expenses going up, is a little sidebar. The CIP we're putting in for the equipment package at Hyannis, we have $62,000 a year on the payment for the old package that's coming off.
Oh, good.
So that all this $500,000 worth of shiny new equipment you're gonna see Hyannis, it's not affecting the operating budget. It's just gonna, like leasing a car. You turn it in, you get the newest year, and you keep paying the same payment. That's what we're doing. So that's not, I don't want you to hear that $500,000 figure and think that's gonna come out of surplus or anything. It's not.
Anyone else have a comment?
We are gonna talk about the 3 or 6.
Wriggle you out,
Okay.
yes.
And it doesn't have to be that.
No, it can be anywhere in between,
Sure.
exactly right.
Sure.
The first thing I would like to do is a member of the committee who was unable to attend tonight sent me some comments, and I really feel it's important to read these. He was absolutely in favor of the no increase for the residents, but the non-residents, he was in favor of option number 2, and the reason was because of increased costs for carts, wages, etc. He was concerned, and I've mentioned this to Jesse already, about the premium uplift for early action, whether or not Jesse got a comment from the town or an answer from the town regarding that. And the last thing was, he was concerned about a revolving account for the pro shops, raised the question as to whether or not any sort of different type of account with more flexibility for us might be appropriate. Do you want to address those, Jesse?
Not great news on either front.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The first one being the premium pass, whatever you want to call it, frankly was shot down pretty quickly by those above me, because anything that creates unequal access is just a non-starter.
Okay.
Frankly. The revolving account for the shops, I broached that as well. Response was not exactly positive. I will say, I might have made a mistake of overstating that as an issue.
In what sense overstated?
I might have unpurposely exaggerated how much of an issue that is, because I went back and looked at some numbers after that meeting, and it really hasn't been a big issue.
Okay.
I think I got a little carried away thinking of that just in theory and not actually looking at the numbers, because there's been plenty of years where we did not exhaust that money. We didn't spend all of it. I'm talking the shop lines.
Of course.
And for that money to be left sitting there tells you right there that, am I making any sense? I'm trying to say, if we had maxed out those lines every single year, it would be a no-brainer. Okay, we need more, but we haven't, and that's a direct relationship with sales. Sum total is, I don't think it's a big issue. I think our pros are very good at bringing in what they know will sell, and sure, we run the chance of the shop being maybe light of a few things come June that maybe should have, but these other things are far more important.
June's too early.
And if I can, June, well,
I just
June's
think
late.
June-
June's the last month of the
Oh,
fiscal
yeah,
year.
for the fiscal year, but
Right.
we golf all summer long, and when the shop starts running out of things like gloves and balls, and, you're getting, your little winnings put to your,
Yeah.
pro shop account,
A lot of that lately has been supply chain issues and not finance issues.
Okay.
I will say that. I mean, if you see why are they out of insert product here, there's a 90% chance that's a supply chain issue. We ordered it and it just hasn't come in.
So the basic equipment that a golfer might need, who either perhaps won some money on the men's league, the ladies' league, or the quota league at Hyannis, that material, that equipment is for the most part available to the members to purchase,
I believe-
unless there's a supply chain
Right,
issue.
I believe so. And we are very, very flexible with and open to special orders. We do it all the time, especially this time of year. Once the events are pretty much dwindling down, somebody comes in, hey, I have $250 in credit.
Right.
I don't need another pullover. Can you order me this pair of shoes from FootJoy, or can you order me this 3-wood from Callaway? We do it all the time. So I don't think it's that big of an issue, and I feel bad for maybe overstating it.
Comment that I have is that you go upstairs here, and the racks are empty almost. There's hardly anything here. And I asked, I said, how come there's nothing here? And I think it was Big Dave, I don't remember.
old day.
And-
New Dave.
New Dave is
New Dave.
New Dave.
Yeah,
New Dave.
tall Dave.
Oh,
New
New
Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it was him.
Yeah.
And he said, well, Mary didn't want to order because we're closing in November, and with the supply issues, that she didn't want to order and have it sit there.
Right. It's
But,
been a nightmare.
but the problem is, I guess, that you have to wait until the new fiscal year to order. If
But-
she could have ordered in the spring for the fall, there'd be more things up there.
And of course, the people that have won money for any of those above tournaments that I just
Yeah.
mentioned need to use it up by when, December 1st or
Right,
the
the calendar year.
31st?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why we end up doing so many special orders this time of year. And again, I don't think that's so much a financial issue. I think she's worried that the supply chain stuff has been an absolute nightmare. He can tell you on his end, but on the resale side, we're having things show up now that were ordered in February that are showing up. A box shows up and it has 2 shirts in it. What is this? Well, you ordered 60 shirts in February, and 58 of them came trickling in over the last few months, and here, you forget you even ordered at that point.
Yeah.
So it's been a nightmare. Every course is dealing with it. I went down to Captain's a couple weeks ago, and their shop's pretty empty, and that's for 2 courses on site, and there's not much in there. It's tough. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for anybody, but it's tough. But I don't see the creation of a revolving account helping that too much. I did speak to Roman, who is at Cranberry, and they do have one. I think they're the only one that does have a revolving account. And I asked him about it, and he said that there's a lot of opposition to it down there because some people see it that it has potential to be used as a slush fund because it's bottomless, or certain things that don't belong there could be coded to it. He said that he gets opposition because people say, what's to stop me from ordering him $50,000 worth of fertilizer and coating it against the pro shop?
Right.
That way it doesn't eat up our operating budget. So there's a lot of opposition to it, even in the town that does have it.
You just raised a good question. I have been meaning to ask you. Does the town have an internal auditor? And did they ever look at the golf operation?
I don't know. Our free cash gets audited by the state at the end of it. Should be official any day now. That gets audited. I don't know. I know I can just say when I deal with the finance department, which is Susan O'Connor, Deb Childs, Mark Milne. I mean, they're on top of it. But I don't know that answer. Are you saying do they hire a consulting firm, or do they have?
No, I just thought they may have a town, a town auditor that.
I don't know. I know the state steps in and tells us what we have in our enterprise accounts, usually in September, October every year. But no, I've only, in my short time doing this, I've only dealt with Mark Milne and our own staff, finance department.
Okay, any other comments? All right, I would just like to add my comments in that, first of all, I appreciate all the information that John gave us tonight, his concerns about things.
Yep.
And I know Jesse's going to address them, absolutely. At the last meeting, I stated my opinion that I didn't think we should have an increase for our residents based on the fact that we had a $400,000 surplus. And that's a very simple thing for me, is that if I'm playing golf with someone and he asks me, or she asks me, is there going to be an increase? And I say yes, and they say why, if we have a $400,000 surplus, I have no answer. And I appreciate what Jesse said here, and I think we've tried to address this really over the last couple of years, that the golf program is about golf, there's no doubt about that, but it's also what Jesse said in his report here about providing affordable recreational opportunities for our residents. And that is directly taken from the town mission. And I feel very strongly about this, that we want to have affordable recreational opportunities for our residents. I've tried to mention this over and over, that golf is more than just golf. It is an opportunity for people in this town to interact on a social basis, a recreational basis, even a personal basis. And I feel very strongly that this decision is the absolute right one for this year. Again, understanding what John brought up, very important, and I appreciate the fact that he always reads into these reports a lot better than I do. But that being said, I absolutely support Jesse's approach this year. Now, as Suzanne said, we also have to address this issue of the non-residents. And so I'd like to open this to the committee. We have option 1 and 3. And again, as Jesse has already said, these are just hypotheticals. 3% increase, 6% increase. Does anyone have any suggestions, comments, or opinions on this particular matter?
I do. 6%.
And that doesn't have to be the cap.
Right,
If
right.
we want to talk 10, we can talk 10. I don't know. I mean,
I'd be in favor of that,
the non-resident.
10%. If we're gonna hold the resident rate at 0.
I mean, I'd rather see it go up in the public rates rather than
The greens fee rate?
yeah, rather than hitting people that, I mean,
Well,
that's
you
money
did a-
in
you
your
did a little
pocket
bit.
with the non-resident pass members. I mean,
Just because it's such a deal for the non-resident compared to, Falmouth or Mashpee.
We were just talking about that. They're all 2+, right?
Yeah.
They're all 2,000
Yes.
something.
I
Yeah,
had
only-
that
for only one golf course.
conversation with a
Right.
Mashpee resident
Right.
today, and she said, well, I'll just join, and then she went, oh, but,
Yeah, you're gonna pay $2,500 for
yeah,
one golf
exactly,
course.
and she said, so I'd be better off staying here. And I said, probably, even if we go up.
So I mean, $1,795 from $1,640.
A lot of these people are couples, so I'm really looking at the family
Yeah,
option.
I'd go up on the family.
Most of the people I play with have a husband and wife playing here that are non-residents, so I'm really looking at family option number 2, an increase of $150. That would bring it to $27.75. How does that stack up, $27.75, Jesse? And if you can, with other
I
courses.
believe we are the only ones that have a family membership.
So if a husband and wife want to play at a different public course,
Yep,
they join as 2 individuals?
yep. Yarmouth would be 2,500. Dennis would be, captains would be $4,000.
$4,000
Dennis, I
per
did it today. I should
person.
have brought it with me. No, total. But the captain's non-resident fee is 2,000.
Oh, 2,000.
Right,
So
captains.
$27.75 would really be at the high end of, for a family, considering 2 people are playing
No.
per person.
No, I wouldn't even say high end.
No?
No, average
You're saying 2,000 a
per
person.
Right.
So it'd be 4,000
Right.
for a family.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
right.
All right, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yarmouth does not have resident versus non-resident. They're the same.
Oh, Yarmouth doesn't even distinguish.
Right. And
Okay.
it's and I want to say they're right around us, 12 something. Of course, I did it today and didn't bring it with me. Why did I not do that? I don't know.
No, that's all right.
But,
we don't need the exact numbers.
But I mean, are we?
Well, a 10% increase would be $1,804 for an adult.
Right. That's why I
And-
said 17.95, just to
Yeah.
play that game.
2887 would be for family at 10%, right? 'Cause that's
Yeah,
that's
so
my
I would
math,
say,
right?
I would say 17.95 and 28.50, just to nice easy numbers. Would 28.50 drive that family away? And are we? The biggest question.
Well, if there's 3 people, it's $9.50 a person,
Yeah.
which is a better rate.
Oh, exactly.
We're paying.
Yeah, you throw a
So, I
you
mean,
throw a
to say
17-year-old
there's
kid
2
in there.
people is fine, but there could be 5, right?
Could be.
Could be.
What-
So, yeah.
What is, what's the
Junior
limit
pass
on it?
is
Junior pass? But if you have a family, can you
Yep.
have your 27-year-old?
No,
No.
it's under 18,
Under
living
18,
living at the same.
Living at the same address.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So if you're older than 18, living at the same address, you do not come under the family
Correct.
plan.
You have
Okay,
to get your
all
own.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
You'll get your own reduced
You're-
young adult.
Young adult, well,
Depending on it. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had people try to sneak their 40-year-old son in
yeah.
as a family, and
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Oh,
No,
like that.
Yeah.
I was being facetious.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
You know. But are we comparing when we put this together? Are we comparing the rates to what our quote competition is doing, or are we comparing it to what we need to run the golf courses? Those are 2 very different questions.
Well, according to our previous conversation, if that were the case, what you need to run the golf courses, it would be 3%. You know? I mean, you kind of made the argument that what you're proposing is adequate to run the golf courses
Yes.
next year. And I am thinking about all the people I know who are out of town, love these courses, and they're, it's out there that we're thinking of not raising residents, but raising non-residents, and they're not too happy about it. This might have the effect of limiting non-resident membership, which
Well,
I think
we've been talking about
We've
capping
been
them.
talking about capping.
I would prefer to go up one price and let any attrition just
Let it happen organically.
Correct.
Yeah.
rather than cap.
Yeah,
That's
you
me.
mentioned that in your report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me. I
Yeah.
would rather, it's not easy.
I heard Mark say he's 10%.
I would.
I mean, this all has to get approved by.
Right, by the town.
Right.
Right.
But I would have no problem proposing a 17.95 and 28.50. I mean, that's like probably 9.5%, something like that. I
So
think-
from 1640 to 1795?
Right, that would be like 9.5%. Which, I mean, do we think, 17.95 is still very attractive? No?
I think you lose some people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from
But-
1640 to, 1640, okay, closer to 1500 than it is $2,000. Now you're,
Yes.
the second year at 1795, it sounds like 2000.
And it's 23 rounds of green fees. So if somebody who plays a fair amount, it's still a
Sure. And
still a good deal.
and everybody has to make their own decision with that, I think 30 is always kind of the number that I've used as a barometer, I think. 30 rounds would kind of be, you hit that number, it's worth doing.
Still a bargain.
No question. No question. Some people will join even though they might not hit that 30 round number or 23, whatever it is, because they want tournament access. They really like playing in member in the club
And the
championship.
leagues.
Right. So
The leagues are huge.
So they'll join,
Yeah.
especially the ladies league, right? Because you
Yeah.
have to be right. So some people will join even knowing they might not hit the break even number for access to the events. I did it. I joined Sandwich Hollows this year, for the record, and I did it to play in the tournaments. I've not played a single casual round there all year, but I've played in the member guest, the club championship, the members. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not going to get my money's worth out of the membership, but I love playing in those tournaments.
Didn't even invite me to.
And
You win any money?
I did maybe win enough to pay for the membership.
There you go.
But
Well,
on a dollars per round basis, I'm not going to get my money's worth. But yeah, but I'm in the minority with that mindset, I'm sure.
I think every year we talk about the pressure that the pass holders exert on the courses. And this might be, an increase might be a way of just like a release valve, you know what I mean? That you will lose a few golfers, but I don't think you'll lose a lot.
I mean, we're only talking, how many?
Non-residents.
We have non-resident. We have 144 non-resident pass holders right now, and 22 family non-resident.
Oh, so that's not a big number.
There's only, right. Well, you look at it, what it would create, yeah. I mean, going up to 6% is only, on the family, is
Yeah.
only $3,300 generated to the operation.
Yeah.
So going up to 10 would be what, $6 grand? I mean, we're not talking life-changing money here as far as the
No.
operation goes. But we're reacting, I think going up with the non-resident shows that we're reacting to the higher costs of everything he's dealing with and the carts, and we're trying to mitigate that as much as possible without hitting the residents.
Correct.
And that's kind of where I sit. We're never going to be able to go up to match the rising costs. And again, I think I said this last month. I've never in my 7 years here seen a budget that didn't need some level of surplus to balance. We've never, on paper, for a forecast, had enough revenue to cover expenses. At the end of most years, we have done it, but they haven't let us forecast enough revenue.
Right.
I submitted my forecast of revenue last year, around, I forget when it was, April or so, and it was kicked back to me and it was knocked down substantially.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep. They did not, they weren't a fan of how aggressive my revenue forecast was. We did end up hitting it, but is that me getting lucky or is that
I think
golf's in a
that's
good spot?
getting, I think that
The weather.
the town,
I mean,
the town management, our town manager and Mark Ells and the finance manager are just conservative.
they are, and they have to be.
And
I get
they
it.
have to be,
Yeah.
because everything we hear in terms of weather reports and everything,
Yeah.
disasters, they have to make sure that
Yeah.
we can meet our bottom line.
A rainy weekend in July is 40 grand
Right.
gone. So it's easy for me to say,
Now,
oh, don't
Mark
worry, we'll
Ells
make
and
it.
Mark Milne are excellent
Right.
about that. All right, does somebody want to make a motion to this effect now regarding, I'm guessing that everybody's okay with Jesse's proposal about cart fees and miscellaneous items like that. So that's fine. Is that correct? Am I
Yes.
correct in
Yeah.
assuming that? Okay. So and we're okay with the resident fees not going up?
Correct.
Is that correct too?
Yep.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So the only thing we're discussing is non-resident fees.
Yeah.
So would someone like to make a motion in terms of the amount of increase that we'd like to have for non-resident pass holders?
I'd like to make a motion that Jesse add a 10% option to what he presents to the town, so that there were 3 options for them to consider. Is that,
I think you're just gonna give them
Yeah, I don't
yours.
think they'll do that.
We're not gonna give them
Can't do
3
that.
options.
oh, you just give
Right.
them one?
I don't
We
think
have
they
to
want to
give
deal
them
with that.
one.
They want our.
They want
one.
our
Right.
opinion.
Oh.
I mean, I think we
Yeah.
obviously.
I'm not making a motion then.
So we're taking
I'll
3
make a
off the
motion
table,
that
right?
we-
Yeah.
I'll
We're
make a
taking
motion
3 off the
that
table.
we
Why?
increase.
Why are you taking 3 off the table?
It just seems like all the talk is far higher than that. No.
Yeah,
Never
I
mind.
mean, you're gonna have to justify a large increase to the non-residents with no increase to the residents. Maybe that's an
Yeah.
easy case to make, I don't know.
I don't think you have to justify anything to the non-residents, Bill.
Well, one of the main
Not to the
things is
non-residents,
that-
to the town, for the town.
One of the
Yeah.
main things is that with the number of total members, it
Higher than
is
ever.
difficult for residents to get a tea time.
And
That's the bottom line.
Correct.
I think.
Yeah.
that's why capping the non-residents started. It wasn't because we have enough money. It's because people were getting shut out.
This year
Residents were getting
especially,
shut
I
out.
think.
This
Right.
year especially.
Yeah.
So,
The
I mean-
weekends are,
You know, what's the,
couldn't do it.
you know, what's the rationale for going up on them? I mean, that we could, the rising cost of everything, but also, I hate to say this, but what do we owe them? You know what I mean? And I know that, I don't mean that aggressively, I just,
well, you're
No.
right. You
Right,
know,
I think there
and-
is a sense of loyalty to non-resident members. Not to disagree with Jesse.
sure.
I do feel there is
I'm torn.
a sense of loyalty. So right now, I'm in favor of the 6% increase. I do agree, Bill, that we've taken the 3% off for all of the reasons Jesse and other members have alluded to. But I'm not in favor of 10%.
It's too much.
Too much.
Okay.
How about 9%?
Jesse was talking 9.5.
Well, what-
So, yeah, so I just did it, all right.
So you don't wanna raise the public green fees then?
He did.
I do.
did,
I want to raise it
Little bit.
6%.
No, not green
No,
fees,
no, no,
not
not
green fees.
pass holders,
Oh,
greens fees.
The only
Oh,
greens
oh.
fee we touched was the actually, ironically, a resident greens fee in the off-season.
right.
25
Oh,
period.
yeah, right.
Jesse,
No,
what's
no.
magical about May 1st and May 11th, as far as reduced rates?
It's a great question, because I wondered that myself when I'm slowly taking what's been done forever and sifting through why is this here, why is this here, why, and it's funny you bring that up because I was thinking that as well. Is that's an awfully short time frame to warrant its own rate.
Well, and you got Monday through Thursday and then Friday through Sunday.
That's pretty standard for a lot of places.
Okay.
They treat Friday like a weekend.
In early May. I don't know why you just don't institute the May 12th fee.
Right
starting
away, May 1st.
Yeah. And then make April 1st to April 30th.
Yeah, why
you know,
is that?
Go up
Good-
in
Good
that.
pointing
I-
that out, Bill.
I'm gonna, this is gonna sound ignorant, I'm gonna file that under, and I hate this answer, because that's the way it's always been. But I hate that answer.
I
It doesn't
know.
have to be, though.
It's the same at both courses.
Right,
Wow.
but just like me wanting to make the cart fee the same at both courses and get rid of the winter cart rate, I'm slowly trying to strip away these things that are only there because they've always been.
There's no school vacation or anything to justify that.
I mean, if you, what do you,
Yeah, better weather.
see, that's what I was gonna say, you think May 1st is just as prime as May 12th, playing condition-wise?
Yes, well, it depends on which course goes last, right? Though, you bumped up aeration earlier in April. didn't you?
Right, because if we're punching greens on April 20th, May 1st is crazy to go up then. Maybe that was the reason for the incremental increase up to peak rate, which starts May 12th. I don't know. Rather than, maybe I should be looking at this as far as creating my own rate structure in terms of reacting to what's always been, which I kind of find myself doing. But
So that's a healing time for the turf, is that what you're saying,
Yeah, because you
James?
punch in mid-April.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, if we
And
get a
then-
cold spring, they could still be a little bumpy.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's, charging $99 on bumpy greens is,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good
mean,
way to
most
anger some
courses give a lower rate after you've punched the greens, the
That
fairways,
has
et
to be what
cetera,
it
et cetera.
is.
And you're waiting for it to get to pristine
I'm
condition.
guessing that's why that is there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm guessing.
that would be something for you and James to look at, just like you're saying, Jesse, and when you say you're guessing, we could
We're
have
always guessing
something
when it
more,
comes to recovery
more
time.
definitive.
I will say I just did the numbers between 6 and 10%, and we're talking like 11 grand. So it's a small number. The difference in increased revenue.
Right,
Forecasting.
between
we're looking at 17,000 for the 6% or 28,000 for the 10%.
Yeah.
So is it negligible money? I don't want to say that.
No.
But it's,
That's the way we have to do things.
right.
When you're increasing some items by $1, we're not making that much money on it.
Right.
But that addresses John's concern about rising costs. So we have to do it in some way, and we can't make a huge amount of money on almost anything.
And the $1 increase on the public card fees is a little under 16,000.
Yeah.
Every penny helps.
All right, let's go back to the non-resident cost, if you will. And again, Bill, I'm not trying to rule out if you're in favor of 3%. I don't mean to do that. I was just stating how I feel about it, the 6% rather than 10.
Yeah, I could come up to 6.
That's good, Phil.
No,
I think it's important.
no, I just think you have to have some
I would
logic
go the
to what
higher
you're
rate.
doing.
You want the
Instead of
10%.
just because we can.
6, 10,
Well,
you
the
know.
9, whatever that.
9.5, I think we're doing.
Yeah.
It's important to note this is just this year. We're not setting anything
Understood,
that's
yeah.
we can go up again, we can do the 6 and go up
Okay.
again next year.
I think the
All right,
see what the reaction is.
The frustration is when you can't get a tee time and you are out there playing with non-residents
Yep.
a lot.
Yep.
It's a little bit like, why don't you go to your go to Mashpee, then go to Falmouth.
We know why they don't, because we're a great deal.
Right.
2 great courses.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I think what we have to do is make a motion. Someone has to make a motion, and we have to vote on it.
I'd like to make a
Go from
motion
there.
that we go up 9.5% for non-residents.
Okay, so we have a motion for 9.5%, and we have a second. All right? Do we have any discussion? We've had a lot of discussion already, but it's appropriate after somebody makes a motion, and it's second, that we have discussion availability. All right? So we have a motion and a second, and we're gonna take a vote on this. So, Mark, 9.5%,
Yes, I'm in favor.
you're in favor. John, you're in favor?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Bill?
No.
And I am a no as well. So that's a 3-2 vote, and so we are going to raise the non-resident fee 9.5% or 10%.
Or
which is
recommend it to the town anyway.
Recommended.
Correct.
All of this is recommended.
In my rationale, James and I will hammer the rising cost of the Green Initiative.
Yeah.
Everything. It's through the roof.
Sales
Be
minimum
careful.
15 to 20%.
Be careful what you wish for.
Price increases.
They might turn
next
around
year.
and come back and say, well, why don't you raise the resident rate as well?
I think there's a good rationale for that, because of the overage.
Because forget even the surplus. The answer I would give to that is forecasted revenues are enough to cover the expenses without going up on residents. And that's all we're tasked with doing, is covering expenses. We're not supposed to be making
Making
hundreds of thousands
Right.
of dollars a year.
And
We're
Jesse-
we're supposed to net $1, if anything.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But can you give us our surplus since the beginning of this fiscal year already? I know at the last
Oh, yeah,
meeting, you
yeah.
indicated we had a significant surplus already.
Over forecasted revenue?
Right.
200,000.
Already?
Through the first quarter, yeah.
So we're 200,000 over
Yeah.
what we have forecasted to break even.
If we
So-
hit all our numbers on the money for the rest of the year,
So it's not
that's another
like,
two, yeah.
I don't believe, as a member of the golf committee, that I am putting the golf committee and the golf program in financial jeopardy by stating that the resident fee should not go any higher. And that's the reason. Jesse mentioned this at the last meeting. Now, the non-resident, again, we had a 3-2 vote, and that's the way it is.
And I think Mark's point about the difficulty this year especially of getting tee times for residents of Barnstable
Mhm.
is a very, very compelling argument.
Yep.
This program is for the residents of Barnstable. And, you know, first and foremost, we love our non-resident friends, but the pressure has been really palpable this year.
It's the weekend when you have trouble getting tee times,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
I haven't been able to
Because
get
I
a tee
haven't
time.
had any trouble at all.
No, I haven't had trouble either, but I'm not really, if other people have had trouble, I
It's
totally.
it's the weekend.
I
I stay
totally
away from the
respect, I
weekends,
totally respect that.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
do we need to do anything else on the proposals for golf fees and rates?
No, you're okay with the $5 non-resident? I know she wants it to be.
I think we should have a separate motion to accept all of the other recommendations.
Okay.
I'll be happy to make a motion to accept,
One,
Oh, right.
one quick question.
oh,
Driving range annual pass.
Yeah.
Additional family member
Yeah.
of a household? Or is it?
consistent.
Great question. I forget how it's worded on the app. I believe so. It was always treated as if your significant other or if your child wanted to be on it, because what we were trying to guard against by putting that in is people would get a range pass and show up with their kid and all their kids' friends,
Yeah.
and they're out there with 15 large buckets all day, you know, just killing us. And we're losing on them big time. But I will confirm that though. I want to say yes, but I'm not sure what's on paper.
You know what, Bill, it's a very good point, and I think what Jesse has indicated to us is that he's gonna start looking at rates and information that he has grandfathered into, if you will.
Right.
And to start examining this a little more closely to make additional changes. So that's a very good comment.
Yeah, a lot of this is
Some of this is
sifting
you-
through
as-
what's been handed to me, and I'm
You've been
trying to.
grandfathered in.
Right. But the range is a tough one because it's the range. Yeah, there's not a lot of overhead. It's a great profit center, but it's super labor intensive. You know, it's just all day long. You know, so that's
Okay.
Go back to making a motion?
Did you do
I-
new mats, Jesse, at Hyannis?
we did about.
You could use them.
Third of 'em.
You could use them here.
Yeah, she tries to do like 5 a year, something like that.
Just like a
Take it.
comment when it comes to, surplus at the end of the year, we'd like to see that money get just reinvested back into the course.
Well, sure.
But,
Well,
but it doesn't seem to.
It doesn't. We don't have access to it without submission of a CIP or a decision package. Or I can't. I don't have the combination of that safe. You know what I mean? I only have my operating line items, and
The combination to that safe.
that's what it is. I don't have the combination of the safe.
I've asked for years for the flags with the, little
Speaking
crystal on
of the
top.
flags, those dark blue flags this time of year are
Can't see 'em.
so difficult to see. So
Really
difficult.
struggling with those flags.
I saw
You
a
got rid of
couple
the white
extra
'cause of the
benches.
spray, right?
Yeah.
I know you did it in the spring because of the fertilizer,
Yeah,
made
it
a
was-
mess of the red and
Yeah.
white ones,
Yeah.
but
Can't see it.
you can't see the flags.
So much glare this
I
time
don't know,
of year.
maybe my eyes are getting better.
No, you're right.
I couldn't see them anyway.
You can do the red and white ones are
But
nice.
yeah, like the mats, it's frustrating because I have line items for the range. It's about $6,000 at each course. Half of that gets wiped away with range balls. Pickers constantly needs parts. The rollers break and this and that. So I mean, we could have 20 billion in surplus. I don't have access to it. I only have that.
So do you have to put that in your budget?
Correct. We would have to create a decision
flags,
package.
balls, mats.
Yep. That would be an increase to a line item that I'd have to lobby for and put on paper. And, yeah.
Like going back to those checkered flags, that we'd have to buy more because they get.
Right. So that's another. Who knows how much? The mats are. They're with shipping. They're creeping up on 400 a piece. Which I know doesn't sound like much, but 40 of them.
Have you seen the mats where you can stick your own tea in them? I think they're like the Cape Club has them.
But is that the ones that are continuous?
No,
Are
that's
they
like
individual
Yeah,
mats?
it's an individual mat.
Oh, they're rubber and there's a slit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because out here they're 4 inches tall or they're
1
an inch and a
inch tall.
half.
Like it's-
It's
Right. It's you're either here or
Yeah.
You lift it up.
I'll look into those.
Yeah, those are great.
If you have 2 grandkids who are lefties and
Oh, geez, yeah.
Flip it
Yep.
over,
yeah.
I know that.
Especially now we're coming up into winter, people steal those teas nonstop. They take them all the time because they're great winter teas.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, people steal them every day.
That's kind
every
of
day.
pathetic, actually.
Yep.
Maybe you could
All
look
right.
at those.
All
Suzanne is going to make a motion regarding the other increases.
Yes, the non.
The miscellaneous.
Pass holder, yes. Well, it's not just miscellaneous, it's everything that's not pass holder. So I would like to make a motion to accept Jesse's recommendation for all of the fee increases that are not pass holder fee increases. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right?
Do we have a second for that
Did
motion?
we want to, what did he say, go from 25 to 30 on that winter rate? Did we
Yeah.
go 25 to 35?
Yeah.
Is 35?
No, 30. I think you said 5, right?
Yeah. 35 would be.
How would 35 be for off-season?
That would make it would be 58 with cart.
For the winter.
Is that too much? I mean, 58 when it's I don't know.
I don't know if you have to really add, look at it with a card. I mean, it stands that the card is the card. It's really the greens
Golf.
fee we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
25, like you said, is way
It is.
undervalued.
I mean, you could play Paul Harney for
more than that. Right.
Yeah. But again, this is just this year. I mean, I
Yeah.
think, I think we get a reaction this year, see what it does on all of this stuff.
Well, I made the motion. Anybody want to second it?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Mark,
Yeah, I'm in favor.
John,
yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Bill?
Okay.
Yes, Bill?
Yeah, okay. Yes.
And I am in favor. Okay.
Stupid question. Does it matter that we're missing 2?
No, we have
No,
a
we
quorum.
have
You
a
have enough,
quorum.
we have enough, so that's
Absolutely
okay.
not. Absolutely
Okay.
not.
Jesse,
Okay.
you're gonna look at that list of greens fees, right? The dates and
Yes.
you're proposing no increase at all to non-resident greens fees.
Correct. Yes, I'm proposing leaving the greens fees alone.
And the reason is those are in line with other public courses on Cape Cod.
Correct. I think going up would solely be going up to go up. Does that make sense? It would be going up, hey, because we can. And that's, sure, in the private world, yeah. But that's not what we're tasked with.
Bill, anything else about that?
No.
You're good?
Yeah.
And as a rule, they're not impacting member access. Those
Okay.
greens fees, because they're public times.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Director of Golf report.
You want to switch it up and let James?
All right, so we're gonna go to Director of Golf Maintenance report, James Bentley.
I don't have too much. I think we did do some fairway seeding, mostly at Hyannis, which needed a little bit more. I think it was a success. They came back
I
big
printed
time.
today, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the weather helped us too, it's on
Yeah.
our side. We
All the
finally got some
rain.
rain. The state
Yeah.
took us out of the critical drought.
Yeah.
We're still in one, but so,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yep, but some of those restrictions have been lifted with the recent rainfall. And the Hyannis cart path project has officially started. They haven't done a lot yet, mostly grading work on the 8th hole,
Of the 9th?
and a little bit on 19.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is the 8th.
Yeah,
The 8th mostly,
yeah, which is, I think, actually 20% of the entire
And
project.
they did something going up the hill on the 9th, right? They put gravel.
We did that.
That was
Oh, you did
that was
that.
in
For a walking path,
Oh,
yeah.
That was in
Nice
house.
job, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, very nice.
Is that gonna stay there?
The-
Stay there? Or is it's gonna get,
We like to think that once the rest of it is paved, people will stop driving on that with carts and use the actual pavement. That's the hope.
yeah.
But I mean, maybe we throw a post.
Or a
Sign.
signage, fencing, something.
Yeah, you could put a post right there,
So-
which would prevent
So
them.
only walkers could get through.
Yeah.
We might have to do that,
Right.
you know?
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah, sure.
How much is a post? Is that a decision package?
I think we can do that.
May I ask why they started on number 8? Because there's washouts that are really, as you know, major washouts.
I think before they can actually pave it, I don't know a ton about paving, but they need to put down a significant amount of base material. They can't just go right over that with the asphalt. So they've actually piled up a bunch of gravel
Gravel, yeah, I saw
base, and
that.
they're putting that out there.
It just
before they
seemed to
pave.
me like they started on not the most critical spot, I guess.
They didn't, but part of the theory too was I want them working on some of the more difficult areas when Hyannis is closed
Oh.
next week.
Aren't you a wise guy? That's great.
Because it's 13, 2, I don't know where you send your carts when they're ripping that up.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
Hopefully we get good weather those days.
No,
so
that,
they can,
that's a great answer, and I think you're really wise.
Come on.
What? You,
oh, that was Jesse's suggestion.
that was
too.
Jesse's
That's
suggestion?
not, I wasn't trying to take credit, I'm saying.
But I kind of made that clear to the contractor, like, hey, look, we're gonna be closed those 2 days.
Got
That's
it.
when you need to be.
Attack the most
Yeah.
logistically
Yeah.
challenging areas, yeah.
Okay,
But yeah, the kind of a slow start for them, so hopefully they get moving. Because my fear is, cold weather's coming and
they're gone.
you're gonna lose your window. I
Mhm.
want them to finish.
Yeah,
So, no, I'm gonna stay on them.
okay.
The deep tining, verti draining here was done today at Old Barnstable, went really well.
The what?
Deep tining. Aeration, 6 to 7 inches. The tines go in, they shatter, they come back out. Great for root growth in the spring. We've done it for a number of years and it works awesome. Not real disruptive to the greens. We rolled them double roll after, and Jesse was out there before
Yeah, I
the
was
meeting.
walking around.
We top dressed them, they're beautiful, so
Good,
they came out good.
good.
But we'll be doing that at Hyannis next week.
Did you do the fairways here, seating?
No, they kind of came back on their own. We had to take the cedar off to do the deep tining, but I want to get some seeding done in Old Barnstable because a couple of them need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9, 18,
9 especially,
6
yeah.
has a big
And
dead
10.
spot still. 10.
10 between the fairway and the tee box.
Oh, before. Yeah, before
Yeah.
the fairway.
What are you doing before the fairway?
Really?
Well, it's pretty barren right now.
Oh, I think he was wondering if you dribble
Yeah, what are you
your
doing
tee
there?
shot off the tee.
Yeah.
We just want to improve the overall beauty of the course.
Okay.
And you're gonna take that bunker out on 18 here at the fairway? On the 18 on the
Yeah.
left-hand side?
Last one.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
two-way on the left, yeah, those,
That's almost grown in.
That's ground
right?
under repair.
yeah.
Yeah,
Probably been a little lax about painting that, but, they're so far out of play, it was always the
Yeah.
thought to just get rid of them.
What else are you taking out? I know you, the 16th hole at Hyannis, you removed
That
the
came
one
up,
there.
yeah.
Yep, 16
Anything
there.
else?
We're talking about that.
Yeah.
I have my wish list, and it's up to them to tell me if it's doable. I want a ton gone, and that's,
Well, for the record, Jesse, we used to have 60, right?
yeah, we're at like
And now we're at
44 now,
45
something.
now.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
think
going in the right direction.
the ones on 2, Greenside,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Hyannis,
those are wrong.
no reason for that one. I don't love the one on 9, short of the green on the left. you know, I just don't know. That just penalizes a weak shot.
12?
12, the bottom one, at least on 12.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 bunkers in Hyannis that need to stay, and that's the fairway bunker on 5 and the one fronting the 10th green. I think those are the 2 most important bunkers.
Yeah.
What about 17?
You don't think that's a tough enough hole?
Yeah, it is.
I do, but
Yeah.
He
it
wants it
protects the
fun.
green.
With that high
I mean,
yield?
I'm just
Sure.
asking, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just asking this from a golf
Right.
professional point of view. Doesn't that protect that
I
green?
think the difficulty of that shot and the uneven lie up the hill protects the green.
Okay.
And the, you know what I mean,
Alright.
and the green itself too,
Alright.
yeah. I'd like to see, we're talking about 11. I'd like to see that lip gone.
Yeah.
I don't care so much about the bunker. He's probably hating that I'm talking about this now.
A lot of the bunkers there, I think, need to be reshaped.
Yeah, I don't care so
Exactly.
much about there being a bunker there,
Yeah.
but I don't like the fact that it's such a short shot is blind.
Correct.
I'm fine with a long blind shot, a driver or something where you're just trying to hit it in a 30-yard area. But if you have a short club in your hand, like an 11,
Yeah.
I'm hitting a wedge or a 9-iron there, I should be able to see the green.
Yeah.
So I'd like to
Agreed.
see that lip
Those lips are very
collapsed.
high at high.
You know,
yes.
if the bunker stays, fine, but I'd like to see that lip taken
Yeah.
down. But that's all winter work stuff.
I think for the amateur golfer, those lips are awfully high.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't see the green on 15 either, because of that.
That bunker too. Could put that. Do we have? Is there enough fill in New England? for that
That's my
bunker?
hole in one hole.
That was my birdie hole that you witnessed.
You don't mind saying that, Bill.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Just as
very
an aside.
appropriate. That's very appropriate for you to tell us that.
Jesse, when you remove the number of bunkers that you have on the courses, then do you come back and ask the courses to be re-rated?
They do. They'll. He being Vinny, Mark Antonio.
Yep.
He's gotten so good at utilizing Google Earth to simply take those measurements and okay, so is it in the landing area? How steep is it? Now that that bunker's gone, all right, that's a minus 0.1 or whatever it is. But yes, it's updated. That's why moving forward, I'm not going to put the rating on the scorecards anymore. Our next batch of scorecards that we order for either course, the rating won't be on there because it's constantly changing, and I don't want bad information to be printed on 30,000 scorecards. So,
If you remove too many bunkers, does it substantially lower the course rating, or does it pretty much stay the same?
it's not as much as you think.
Okay,
And I'd rather elevate enjoyment than worry about course rating.
yeah,
You
okay.
know? Yeah.
That makes
The
sense.
Hyannis, I mean, the old Barnstable course rating is not indicative of.
Right.
of
And there's a ton of that all over.
Yeah,
I've been on. I did some ratings. I've seen how they do it. I'm not a huge fan. I just, you know. Oh well.
wonks need work.
Yeah.
Okay, James, anything else for your report?
Just one more thing, we haven't forgotten about it, we are still gonna do the forward tee on 5, at Hyannis.
Okay, great.
That's happening.
All right.
Forward.
Okay, any other comments? Sean, you do.
Yeah, just a question. I talked to some people who played on the reciprocals of some of the other courses, and they indicated to me that the course condition, or they didn't have as much problems with the fairways at some of those courses. And so I wondered if the Barnstable courses, we had stricter watering rules, or the...
No, we followed them.
We followed the rules,
We followed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
and we didn't use chemicals.
And
It's a combination of the.
not using the chemicals.
It's a combination of the Green Initiative and following the rules. I said that last month.
Yeah.
We can't control if other courses aren't following the rules. I know for a fact. I
Oh,
can name.
Yeah, I
I'm not
played-
going to.
I played one
No, we
last
don't
week,
wanna
I'm
get
like,
that.
oh
Right,
boy.
but yeah.
Okay. I'm
But
just curious.
I'm very proud of the Green Initiative.
Yep.
And the fact that we followed the watering rules. I think it's environmentally responsible.
I'm sure they were using wetting agents. I'm sure they're right. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to throw a colleague under the bus, but
No.
they're
No,
doing
we don't
things
want
we
that.
We also-
didn't or couldn't.
Can't really afford letting agents on fairways, we we do them on greens and tees.
Yeah.
The price is just astronomical to do that much acreage. We can't afford that.
Okay, any other comments? All right.
Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
No.
You didn't do his report.
I'm quick.
I thought you deferred to.
Just because he's been sitting there for.
Oh,
hasn't said
okay.
anything.
Oh,
I
I'm
figured we'd
sorry.
break it
Oh,
up.
I thought you completely
No,
deferred.
I don't have
Oh.
much at all, because I knew this was all
All
about
right,
rates.
direct, go,
So
Wes,
brief-
I
so-
would never want to.
So, yeah, right. We'll get you home. So, very briefly, my report. September, another strong month. Each course exceeded budgeted revenue by around 30,000. That means through the first quarter of FY23, which is now in the books as of the end of September, we're off to a great start. Revenue, as we said, a little over 200,000 above forecast. I don't expect that number to move much over the next several months. Obviously, now we're at a prime season. We don't really budget much in October, November, December anyway. But it's great to have that buffer headed into the spring when the weather can be dicey. He touched on the cart path project. One Day Quota League wrapped up. That league brought in well over $60,000 this season. Huge thank you to Tom and Mike. They didn't miss a beat keeping things going once I became hands-off with it. And for the record, the toughest thing about me being in my new position has been taking my hands off the wheel, so to speak, when it comes to tournaments and events. But having such capable and talented people on our staff makes it easier. You might have seen some new on-course signage at Hyannis, mainly directional type stuff.
Love it.
Yeah, it was
Love
long
it.
overdue. It's definitely a big help to see,
Yeah.
for those who aren't familiar with the routing. Just last week, I saw a group come off the second tee and the second green and go right to 16.
It's great.
And I had to
Great
go
job.
over and grab, yeah. Also in the signage world, the work to replace the main entrance sign at Hyannis starts tomorrow. Yeah, I doubt it will take long. It's a much needed facelift for the entranceway over there. We all know Hyannis is lacking curb appeal, but we're making baby steps towards improving that. Other than that, we're in the thick of budget season right now. A lot of different deadlines coming up, as you saw on the budget calendar. Our next few months will be spent developing what we'd like to see for an FY24 budget, along with submitting all the reports that I have to, recent accomplishments, short and long-term goals, all the things the town requires us to put on paper every year for the annual reports. That's it.
Did I see a couple new benches?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch.
We got some
Very nice, yeah.
some
For an
benches,
old
some new trash receptacles, the
Okay.
nice whatever they're called, the stuff that never. never
Still
goes
like
bad.
to see those crystals on top of the pins at Hyannis. Everybody asks for them constantly.
I feel like it's just you.
No, it's just me bringing it to this committee. People talk to me about it. People who shoot the pins, they want them.
What are they?
Shoot
Suzanne?
the lasers at
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Little
crystal
crystals.
cell.
It's about
They
$1,600.
grab it. Yeah.
They sit on top of the pin, and people
Ah.
can easily find the
So
pin.
something like again, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah.
I feel is a thing that we wait till June.
Yep.
See where we're at with the budget.
Yep.
And if we're in really good shape and we have the money, we do
Yep.
it. I wouldn't want to do something like that this early in the budgets.
Understood,
You know.
understood, but I will tell you that a lot of golfers, oh, you're on the committee, can you ask them about?
Really?
And I
Okay.
only bring it up in relationship to Hyannis because of the nature of that course. I
Yeah.
don't think you see a lot of people trying to, shoot pins here, but anyway, just saying.
One year we put reflective tape up.
Yeah.
Did that help? No.
I don't know.
No,
I think it
it's
got
not-
dirty and it looked bad.
Yeah, it's not in keeping with the
edges of the tape
technology.
just collected,
Yeah.
and it just looked.
Pokey.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people using this technology are like, why don't we have these? Lots of courses do. A lot of the munis around here do, so,
Right.
just
The
saying.
other thing I don't know, you could comment on that I've seen at other courses, which is a nice touch, is a visual pole on like the 150 mark. Like a
Yeah.
striped pole at 150, so when you're, out a ways, you have a target, as opposed to the plaques. I mean, you leave the plaque on the ground, but
Yeah.
you don't see it until you're on top of it.
Somebody else asked me about
What
that as well.
Those rubber indicators that
We could go back to the flex stakes.
you seen. Those that were they're
Flex
about
sticks.
those. There's red, white, and blue, and
Yep.
they're this tall, and the mowers can go over them. But
Yes,
they don't.
the
They get
coyotes
eaten, right?
were eating them
Yeah. Yeah.
down to the ground.
Yeah.
I
All of
love
them.
coyotes. Don't they?
Really?
What
Yeah.
the heck's wrong with
What
that?
about something that was a little more substantial?
Have you seen
I've
those
seen like
poles?
the three
Yeah.
foot high pole. It's green
Yeah,
and
they have
white.
Some courses will even use a small tree, a dwarf tree. as
Or a
as
barber
marker
pole
for the
kind of thing.
150.
Right.
Not in the field.
birdhouse,
Something just to,
How taxing would that be?
mid for one, so
That's all.
that and the
John's gonna.
different colored flags.
I know what you mean. When I go to a new course, I like those.
Yeah.
Seeing the 150, go, all right, if I just hit it anywhere around there, I'll be
Yeah.
fine.
We can go back to the flex days too, and we'll just get a pile on.
Well, if the coyotes eat them,
But they're easy to replace and they're cheap, right?
Yeah.
and you
Not
can
huge.
mow over them, right?
That's the whole point of them.
Yeah,
They just pop
Which
back
is
up.
nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas those poles, obviously,
You
you're
gotta
getting
remove
off every
them,
end.
yeah.
And is that a big deal? No, but
No, but when,
it adds, you know.
When you're down on staff, it is.
I
a
mean,
big
we had an
deal.
88-year-old guy mowing fairways,
Oh,
so
jeez.
Yeah. Get, yeah, him
I know
hopping
that.
off at 18.
him hopping off and on the mower a
14
bunch of
times,
times.
yeah.
James,
All
what's the
right, do we
status of
have,
the tree on number 1? Here.
Good question. I spoke to an arborist about that. Because of the drought, he recommended waiting until the spring to ensure the survival of a tree transplant.
Have you identified the tree transplant? Or?
He's got a holly tree on in between 6 Green and 5T that he thought had a good chance of making it.
Oh.
Yeah, in that kind of triangle area, it's
Yeah,
low maintenance.
yeah,
There's a nice holly in there.
Yeah.
That
I know
would be
what-
about the
what tree
same
you're
size
talking
as the
about.
other linden tree. But it would be a holly. But
Oh, yeah, I know that
branches
tree,
would be
yeah.
high enough up on it so you could swing a club.
Yeah,
underneath
you
it,
can
like a
still.
linden tree.
Good, good.
Yeah.
You can still
All right,
punch something
John?
through.
Yeah, our chairman, a couple of months ago, asked about the rent at the restaurant over in Hyannis. And I had heard some rumors that they weren't paying rent. And so.
They're not paying rent.
I want,
The town has asked us to forgive their rent.
so now we don't have any rent anymore?
No, well, again, I brought that item up and Jesse indicated that the town has asked us to forgive them because I don't know exactly why.
For the first year, it was forgiven because of the infrastructure upgrades that he did. He put in probably as much, if not slightly more, in upgrades, permanent upgrades, than the rent would have been at his gross sales percentage. We are in year 2, however, and we haven't seen anything yet. And
Because I looked at the
Yeah.
statement, and where we used to have restaurant rent is now called electric reimbursement.
Yeah, he pays half of our electric bill. That's always been the case, even with previous food and beverage operators. We get the Eversource bill, we cut it in half, he pays that. So they're up to date with that. But April, May, June, July, August, September, we're in month 7 of year 2 now, without any rent. And that's all I can really say.
You have said before that you have nothing to do with the 2 contracts.
Meaning?
I don't know, I thought you had said that you don't oversee the restaurants.
Oh, well, no, they're tenants,
They're tenants, and I guess I know that has the bid gone out yet for next year?
for here?
Yeah,
No, we're working on it right now.
right, so who does? Who's responsible for awarding that contract? And is there any place for the golf committee to get involved with that?
I don't know. It's procurement. It will, once the bidders come in, a committee will be created. It'll be me, it'll be Maddie, probably Chris Ganella, Amber Patterson, the chief procurement officer, probably us 4, maybe even higher up. I'm not sure. Probably not.
I don't know why the golf committee would not have at least representation, even if
I can ask that question.
ex officio.
So we're ready to get this one posted pretty soon.
Yeah.
Again, not that he wants to go anywhere, but it has to be done.
Right,
So probably within a month that'll be posted,
okay.
and then it'll have maybe end of November deadline for bids, and then
Okay.
the committee would meet in December.
Could we please see?
I can absolutely ask the question, say
I'd
that.
love, for example, for Keith to have a place
Sure.
at the table, even if it's ex officio.
And then they have one more year at Hyannis, and we'll have to do, this time next year, we'll be doing it for Hyannis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to see them go on a low bid type of thing, because I think they ought to consider, like at the CUDA, all of the donation of food that,
Mhm.
they gave, and the tremendous job I think that they do upstairs, and him contributing to events.
Right. And
like the CUDA.
I could be wrong. I personally don't think we should really be looking at the restaurants as moneymakers for us. I think they should just be there to increase the level of service and enjoyment for our customers, and I don't really think we should be relying on them for, or thinking that they're gonna make or break our year. Cover their expenses like the electric bill and stuff like that, but,
And I think they do that upstairs. I think they
Right.
do a tremendous job.
yep. Haven't had any
So
complaints from anybody.
perhaps at our November meeting, we could get an answer as to whether there can be representation in
Yep.
this discussion.
Well, we can put that on the agenda, because again, that issue of the rent at Hyannis, John, I totally agree with Jesse that the restaurant is the 19th hole. And whether you're a resident or you're a guest from Maine who's come down for a weekend, you want to have a great golf course and you want to have an equally good restaurant.
A large percentage
It's
of customers don't
all
realize
part
it's
of the
different.
experience of playing golf in Barnstable. And that's very important. I'll just end there.
Jesse, have you had any more discussions about a part-time custodian?
Oh, good point.
I saw Dave vacuuming the rugs upstairs
Yeah.
here.
Short answer is no, and it's because I did. I talked to Chris Cannell a lot about it, and we tabled it because we kind of decided we didn't want to be at the mercy of another division's schedule. If I'm going to allot X amount of dollars from our budget, we thought it more prudent to just hire our own company, outside company who's going to come in
Cleaning
when we
service.
want them here, rather than have DPW tell us, hey, we're down a guy this week, we can't get to you, we can't,
Yeah.
I think we'd rather use that money, hire a private company and have leverage,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
So,
That's
Okay.
that's
Right.
smart.
Right.
That's smart.
You think that'll happen then?
yeah, I'm good, yeah. I mean, we're already spending 14 grand a year as it is now.
Well, the restaurant should pick up some of that, should they not?
It's funny you say that. I tried to get that into the RFP for this, and
Well, they need a restaurant,
they
right?
didn't go for it. Yeah. I tried to get a couple grand, and the response I got back was, well, you could just increase their rent, but that doesn't help us. We can't spend revenue.
Right.
We can only spend what's in our budget. So, like electrical reimbursement, I wanted to create a situation where they contribute money towards the cleaning, and it comes back as a reimbursement, not as revenue. And I got nowhere with it.
That's a catch-22. It really
The
is.
revenue versus
Yeah, well,
reimbursement?
yeah, right.
Yeah, I tried, so the MGA, Mass Golf gives us $5,000 a year for the first tee at Hyannis. We get a check from $5 grand every year from Mass Golf, and it's meant for range balls and mats and all the things that these kids,
Use.
Right.
Right.
And I lobbied, a couple months ago, for that money to show up as a reimbursement rather than revenue. We don't need the $5 grand of revenue.
No.
I'd
Right.
rather that money go back into the range
No,
supply
of
line
course.
item,
Right.
so we can get new balls.
Right.
And I was told, no, that's revenue.
Uh-huh.
So these are the dances that I do behind the scenes to try to, because we can't spend revenue.
Do you ever accept donations of used golf balls for the ranges?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
do?
all the time.
Oh, good. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah, all the time.
6,000.
As much as I'd love a nice uniform, all the balls are the exact
Right,
same.
right.
I'm not going to say no to.
Okay, to free golf balls. All right.
Well, I'd probably donate at least 50.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Bye.